just for a minute. Close your eyes for a second.
Hi Posh fam, welcome back to yet another commentary of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now we have less than a few episodes to the end of season 16, guys, and as much as I would like to be exciting about it, it was an underwhelming season. There was so much pent-up anticipation, excitement, projection with regards to Posha's return, Phaedra's return, and it has left very little to be desired. Now, before we get into dissecting this episode proper, I would like to say thank you so much to those of you who have stayed true to this channel and subscribed, continuously watched my videos, liked a few of them. Again, it means a lot to me that you're still here supporting my growth, my slow, very slow growth. But we're gonna get there. You know, the journey of a 1,000 miles actually begins with a step, and we'll get there. So again, thank you. Keep sharing this channel with your friends. Get them to like my videos, hit the notification bell so they can get alerts on when my next weekly upload will be. Now let's get into this particular episode proper. It's the penultimate episode of the season, and yes, one thing is true about Phaedra, and that is the fact that she is that woman that we left off a few years back. She is a very manipulative, calculated individual. Her reason for existence is to bring down her fellow women on this particular franchise. And you're going to see why I'm saying this. She has, in true to form, not learned any lesson from the way she was booted off the show in the past, and this was based off of the lie she told, the plot she orchestrated with Porsha Williams to try and smear Kandi Burruss's reputation. Now, thank God it sort of backfired on her, and there was no meaningful or substantiated facts to her webs of lies, and here she is back at it again. You will think, having been given a second chance to, you know, make a first impression, Phaedra is not doing none of that. It has flown over her ears, the reason why she left, and she's back to her old tricks. She is literally back to her old tricks. Now, on this episode, there was a few sad moments, and that's in part 2. I remember I made comments on this particular lady's passing. This is Porsha Williams' cousin Londi we're talking about. This was during the bedroom by Porsha, or Porsha by bedroom collection, where she debuted all of that and invited the girls for a lingerie evening that went south with Shemia and Porsha's friendship in question. Now, I think this is where it played out for us, because Porsha was in no show to Phaedra's event, and that was because of the sad news she had received with regards to Londi's passing. And then again, may this young lady so rest in peace. We move on, and this is obviously the ladies are back in Atlanta from Grenada. I guess the sun did a few good, but we were right back to the mean-spirited and swing of chaos, as we would like to call it. Now, Kelly's, we can see here, is trotting her way to court. Unfortunately, the events that played out in court was in the way she wanted it to play out. She's still not yet divorced. Apparently, the ex has been held in contempt from on remittance, I think no remittance for child support and a few other things. This is allegedly, because I don't want to speak for what I don't know. I haven't gone through the court documents to speak on this matter, but it's safe to say Khalees is going to be living to fight another day, and I guess spend more financially. You know, you could see how stressed she is, and the good thing was her friends rallied around her. Shemia came over visiting, Angela called to show support, and I guess the one person that was obviously missing, no surprise, because we already see that this particular friendship, or lack thereof friendship, or fake, you know, friendship, or friendship by proxy, was already falling apart, and that was Brit Edie. Khalees could actually be heard talking about how upset she is at the fact that Khalees did not make an effort to offer flowers, you know, phone calls, text messages, or show up. And we know it was the opposite during Brit Edie's tumultuous time at the commencement of this particular season. Khalees was there sending flowers, showing support, organizing infusion therapy for her, you know, just supporting her in every way that she could. But I guess it wasn't meant to be at this on this instance. And too bad. We can actually see Brit inviting Portia and Cynthia to her home. This is the first time this is happening. According to Brit, she's taking a page from Phaedra's book to show that she is hospitable or charitable or wholesome. I will still say this. I don't think she is. Brit is not the girl that you want to have as friend. Brit, I'm glad this is her last season. I've said this a few commentaries now, but I am quite happy that this is her last season. But I would say this: Phaedra roomed with her in Grenada, and I think this was where Phaedra sharpened the saw, and that is in part two. Phaedra fed Brit a few things. Brit obviously relayed a few concerns of hers with the girl group, and Phaedra took this to task and, should I say, plotted and manipulated and told the lines of mean-spiritedness to cause or deepen or extend the rift between Brit and Kelly's. I blame all of this, to be honest, on Phaedra. I feel allegedly Phaedra has a hand in how much this particular friendship has now gone sideways, because we did hear from Phaedra about the glam squad scenario before Brit and Kelly's talked about it in their confessionals. Now, they refused to address it when they had their sit down the night prior to them leaving Grenada. So that speaks a lot for itself, because I'm still feeling that Phaedra has a hand in this particular friendship demise. But again, Phaedra is who she is. Vindictive, calculative, manipulative. She would always play her tricks. And I guess ratings, I'm not sure if this is for ratings, but I feel like when you've been given a second chance to come back to make amends, knowing how you exited this particular franchise, you would think you would be towing the line of peace, the line of maturity. But Phaedra didn't grow anywhere. She didn't grow. Nah, if anything, I think she's now more calculative, and it's quite unfortunate to see. Now, Brit invited Cynthia and Kenya over, and very quickly Brit was ready to spill the beans. Now, this particular sit down, it was more to welcome to my home. Well, sorry, I have bad news to tell you. She quickly unleashed on Shemia, because she now knows that Kaale's glam squad is working alongside Shemia, and I guess she felt salty about it. And so what was she gonna do? She decided she was gonna spill a few beans, letting Portia know that she was in on most of the communication that was, private to Portia and Shemia. She went on to say she read most of the text messages that was shared between Portia and Shemia during their, rift, and I wouldn't say verbatim, but she basically summarized it in the Chinese whispers of all things and made it seem like Shemia did something bad. Now, we do not know if this is true, but this is quite telling, because I am not sure when this particular text message or conversation happened between Shemia and Brit. And I'm thinking that it might have happened prior to the sit down. So all of this wasn't properly addressed, because there were a few comments or a few sit downs or a few conversations that happened. And I guess it didn't correlate to the sit down, where all of this could have been aired on the table and both parties would have moved on. And so here is Brit opening up old wounds by stirring the pot and making Portia think that Shemia is not the friend that she thinks she is. I don't know what to make of this. Again, it is quite sad that Shemia did not read the room before, should I say, letting this girl in into her business or her affairs with Portia. Or she probably was lured on the pretense of, we're here for you. We can see you're not getting the support that you deserve. And that led her to spill a few beans. And Brit, knowing who she is, a very vindictive and manipulative person, has found a way to use this particular situation to her advantage, which she has, because the way she said it sounded very gossipy. It sounded very, yes, I'm going to make sure I hurt her where it hurts the most. And you could see Portia, drinking the Kool-Aid. And I guess this is going to be the exit or the scar that lingered to the point where this woman could not come to eyes or come to terms before the season ended. So it remains to be seen, because we know Posha wasn't really was a no-show at Phaedra's event because of the information she had, the sad news, the family matters that's she's currently experiencing in her household. And so Shemia is not aware or privy to what has been passed across by Brit. And we did get to find out this. And I would say this, right? As much as these two women are not in the best of friends, the way Shemia got the sad news, it wasn't the best. I would think she would have been the first to know, but she got it just as everyone else received the news. And I was like, well, this is quite telling. Well, all thanks to Brit, of course. I'm blabbing, so I'm just gonna go straight to the main event now. Phaedra had I'm not even sure what to call this. A private runway event, private fashion show. Now, in this particular fashion show, she was meant to debut her kids' clothing line, as well as showcase someone else's clothing line. I am not sure. But things got heated between Kelis and Brit, because this was where they saw each other for the first time. Brit walked in, said hi to Kelis. Kelis completely ignored her, and comments were exchanged between them. It got to a head. The altercation escalated to a very nasty moment. I think Brit's line would always be passive aggression. And the funny truth is, Brit is the one that exudes the aggression. Passive, whatever, however we're going to call it, it's all coming from Brit. So Brit decided again she was going to get everyone on her side by letting them in on the glam squad scenario, to which Kelis agreed that, yes, I've told my glam team no to work with you. And it begs the question, why didn't Brit have her own team prior to signing on the contract to come on this show? I mean, like, why hang on to your friend's team? If you knew this was going to be something that would cause friction at the end, why didn't you, if you were that girl, why didn't you have your own team? Why didn't you assemble your own team prior to kickstarting the show? Because glam is a must. And I can understand, again, why Kelly said no more. Because their styles were beginning to look the same. You can't have two grown adults, or whatever they call themselves, look alike, with one literally stylishly outshining the other. Brit has a very beautiful body, no questions about this. Kelis is a little bit short she's on short end, and so most of the styles, looks a little bit compressed, if I would use that word. And on Brit, looks so luxurious and glamorous. And like I said, the style team has only got so much clothing to share across two best friends. On the same show, it will be conflict of interest at best. And so the fact that they let this drag on for this long says a lot. And Kelly said, well, we're starting to look alike. I'm beginning not to feel comfortable in my own style. And so I'm going to say, yeah, this is my team. I hired them for the show. So when I say no, it should be no. What's the big deal? And Brit felt like, she's been hard done by, pressed for everything. And it went on to Ned Collins. Kelis insinuated that Brit was living with a roommate, not her husband, and also alleged pill popping, to which Brit responded with pregnancy termination allegations that just went below the belt. There were a few back and forth between these ladies, and ultimately they were able to separate them to be able to have this particular private runway show progress. Now, in the midst of this particular private runway show that was organized by Phaedra and her friends, Drew was locked out. And this is again quite petty of Phaedra. Drew sent her a text that she was stuck in touch. Now, we all know this season, Drew has been fashionably late. Now, fashionably late is actually putting it mildly. Drew has been very, very late. But on this occasion, it appears Drew gave her the heads up that she was stuck in traffic. And guess what Phaedra did? Phaedra was like, we're going to lock the door at so and so time. But the fashion show had not even started and Drew turned up. But guess what? Drew was locked right out of the whole scene. Which then tells me that Phaedra had a game plan, and that excluded Drew because she didn't want Drew picking up on things to support Angela. Now, why am I saying this? Right in the middle of this whole commotion and fashion show, Angela came with her husband, Charles. And there was this stranger that walked up to Angela and said, I want to have a word with you. Angela didn't really, pay this particular stranger any attention. And then the stranger then went on alluding to the fact that Charles is cheating on her. Apparently, he has been in the same venue with Charles with another woman. Now, the one thing I loved about Angela was she did not react. Charles, I don't know if he heard most of the conversation, did not flinch. And that was shocking to me. But Phaedra and the rest of the girls were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I'm like, how did we get this guy in here? It was quite clearly staged. Very, very staged. Is there any surprise that this is linking back to Phaedra? Now, I actually assumed it was Phaedra. But then, Angela has done an interview with Carlos King and has also confirmed that they had to go do a deep dive and accost and confront this particular individual who had no other option than to lay his card on the table to say it was Phaedra that sent them with this information, because they had so many valid reasons to say this was a lie. The day in question, Charles was on air, and that's just like, didn't Phaedra learn anything? And exactly what is Bravo doing, promoting such malicious attacks on other housewives? Like, we want rating. As much as we want rating, we don't want rating where it hurts people's marriages. We don't want rating where it hurts and damages people's reputation. This is quite despicable. It's a despicable act. It shouldn't have been aired. But I guess there was nothing left on this show for us to talk about, apart from this sort of allegations, fake rumors, planting people to be deceptive. It was quite ridiculous. There are like two women that captivated me the entire season, and they were Angela and Drew. Kenya's moment was very short-lived, but she was also captivating as well, as compared to the other women who had very little to give. Very little to give. Now, it was during the end of this particular private viewing session or modeling or whatever fashion show that Phaedra was so happy to break the news about Portia's cousin's passing. And that took Shemia by surprise because she wasn't aware. And she just, went so emotionally, she was emotionally affected by it and was crying. And you could actually see right then and there, she probably knew maybe her best friend is not happy with her. But guess who to blame? Brit. And this is where it ends for us. I guess on the season finale, we're going to actually see how Angela confronted this particular hoax stranger with the fakest of information. And I cannot wait to see how this reunion plays out with Phaedra being confronted for her messiness. But that's it, guys. I really don't have much of in terms of opinions, because it just spoke for itself. It was really, really tardy. It was tardy. It was tiring and draining. But if you have any difference of opinion and difference of thought, come on the comment section. I would like to hear your thoughts. And also give me feedback as to how you want me to better present my commentary. In the meantime, stay safe, remain focused, and remember that you are deserving. I'll see you soon. Bye.